Those arrests and much more is New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, who also serves on the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning, Allison.
Okay, so these three suspects were arrested in Brooklyn. They had planned to travel to Syria to join ISIS, at least two of them. And if that didn't work, they were going to, they said, plant bombs at the popular tourist destination Coney Island, which is in your district. What more do you know about this plan?
Well, this is a very disturbing development that strikes way too close to home. It makes it clear that the problem of radicalization is not just a Middle Eastern issue, it's not just a Western European issue, it's an American issue. And in this particular instance, it's not clear why these terror suspects were determined in the alternative to strike out at Coney Island, other than the fact that it is a very popular destination for both New Yorkers and for people from all across the world. It also is a very diverse community with Christians, Jews, and Muslims, people of all different races living together. And perhaps their warped ideology led them to want to strike out at a place that would carry that type of symbolism.
Well, we get a little bit of a window into their mindset, and it is fascinating. This is part of the 25-page affidavit that the FBI complaint that has just been filed about these guys. Here is this 24-year-old suspect, and he is communicating with someone on an ISIS propaganda website. This is from August 8th. This is the posting that alerted the FBI, I believe, to his plans. Here's what he says. Greetings. We, too, wanted to pledge our allegiance and commit ourselves while not present there. I am in the USA now, but we don't have any arms. Is it possible to commit ourselves as dedicated martyrs anyway while here? What I'm saying is to shoot Obama and then get shot ourselves. Will it do? That will strike fear in the hearts of infidels. Now, this does not sound like the sharpest tool in the shed. However, they don't have to be smart. They can still just, wreak havoc. Are you afraid that there are others in your district who are also extremists and have plans?
Well, I think we all have to be alarmed because there's a clear and deliberate attempt by ISIS to propagate radicalization all throughout the Western world, certainly in America. And it's now clear that there are people, disturbed, troubled individuals, young people in our own community susceptible to the ISIS propaganda campaign. I'm confident that Commissioner Bratton, the New York City Police Department, in partnership with the FBI and the CIA and other entities, are doing all that's necessary. But this is an example as to why we need all hands on deck, including the Department of Homeland Security, which is why it's unreasonable for House Republicans, for instance, to be placing us on the brink of shutting down the Homeland Security Department in the midst of individuals who clearly want to strike out at our homeland.
Well, exactly, Congressman. I mean, what is going on in that building behind you? What is going to happen today? We're 24 hours away from the DHS funding drying up somewhat, that government agency being partially at least shut down. So what's going to happen today?
Well, I've been left to make reference to that famous New York philosopher Yogi Berra, who once said, it's like deja vu all over again. We're being taken on another reckless legislative joyride. The American people have to suffer through the uncertainty as to whether we're going to crash and burn our safety and security because of the need to satisfy the ideological extreme right wing by some in the Capitol. It really is unclear. It does seem that the senators on the other side of the Capitol are prepared to conduct themselves with Mitch McConnell's leadership in a more responsible fashion. But I was struck, Allison, by the fact that yesterday John Boehner apparently made the statement that he hadn't spoken to Mitch McConnell in several weeks. I mean, this is not a long commute to get from one side of the Capitol to the other. And when the safety and security of the American people is at risk, Republicans should be talking to Republicans about how we can resolve the situation. That's not happening. And the continued uncertainty is particularly troubling now for the people that I represent in Brooklyn, but should be troubling for everyone in America. And I'm hopeful that cooler heads will prevail, the adults in the room will step forward, and we can get this resolved before tomorrow's midnight deadline.
So, Congressman, you're saying that if the bill were to be divided, as Mitch McConnell has suggested in terms of voting for DHS funding in one bill and deciding what to do about immigration in a separate agenda, that Democrats would be on board with that plan?
I certainly would be on board based on what I've learned about the plan preliminarily. I think that it is important to separate the issue of DHS funding from the issue of President Obama's executive action on immigration, which I support. But reasonable minds can, of course, differ about it. I believe it was entirely constitutional and consistent with his presidential authority. If others disagree, handle that issue legislatively or, of course, allow the court process to take its place, and we'll see what ultimately judges determine, but separate out the important issue of the safety and security of the American people.
Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, we appreciate you coming on, and we will be watching closely.